Whether you're married or single or poly or ace, or hanging out with swingers back at your place, listen to us as we give no fuck on Tinder and Bumble and plenty of yucks, trying and having no luck, because we all know dating kinda sucks. Sarah and Adam are two of a kind. He says stupid shit and she doesn't mind. They're not doing this show to make any buck. Life as a chicken whose feathers he plucks. Why does it work? Well, here is the crux. They both know dating kinda sucks. Dating kinda sucks.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Adam Heath Avitable.
This is Dating Kinda Sucks, a podcast about dating, sex, and relationships. This week, we'll be talking about how to make friends using dating apps and other resources. Enjoy the show.
And if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you for watching. Please make sure you hit all the notifications and all the bells so that you can enjoy future episodes and shorts that we've been putting out as well. Thanks for watching.
It's 2023 and season 6, as Adam likes to call it. We're back.
Rolling your eyes at season 6. Yes, we are on season 6. Every year starts a new season. It just makes things nice and clean.
Yeah,
makes it easier. It also lets us know, like last year we put out, 32 episodes?
We were rolling at the front half of the year, and then life happened. And then, yeah,
doing it weekly was, it was fun, but it was also just overwhelming.
Stress.
As well. Yeah.
Stress.
The amount of planning that goes into that. And I'd like to eventually get back into some of our interviews because I really enjoyed those, but we're going to have to do it in a way that is good for us and works
Yeah.
best for us.
Right.
So yes, it is January, and we're recording this the second week of January right now. And then I think this might be our only episode this month, because
if we can cram something else in, but who knows?
we both got vacations coming up. I'm going to Vegas for my birthday. So yeah, we'll have to figure it out. We might try to cram another one in here, but if not, don't worry. We'll be back, just in time.
We'll go away, come back, go away,
come back. Yeah, we're just gonna go down to once a month. No, I'm sure we won't. I'm sure we'll be doing well. Let's
talk about what's been going on in each of our lives.
Yeah, let's get into that. There is a lot. And I'm trying to decide how much people who follow me on other social media know what's been going on in my life, but just for the those of you who do not, although I would highly recommend it, follow me on Instagram or Twitter, or I'm on Post now. I'm on Mastodon. I'm on all the Twitter alternatives, with Elon Musk burning it to the ground. I only use Twitter now just for trolling Elon, by the way. That's the only really that I do now, just because it's fun. But yes, if you haven't been following along, I've been here in Utah as a caretaker to my mother, who was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer a couple of years ago. And so I've been here just, cooking meals, helping my dad out as well, because, he's getting a little bit older. So making sure he's doing okay. And then, we knew that there would be an end coming. And so, it happened, of course, during the holidays. I didn't talk about this before, but back in September, she was given 2 weeks to live because they said it had spread to her liver. She started having a lot of itching, like under the skin itching. And they said that was due to her bile duct being blocked, I think. And so it's a way to know that it's kind of spread. And so they told her she had 2 weeks to live, I think, without actually seeing her. They told her this over the phone, which is fucking ridiculous.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thanks for that being so impersonal, but great.
And then, so we got all the family together and everybody got ready for her to, just apparently somehow go from not full health. She was, she was obviously sick, but like all of a sudden just die immediately. And it didn't happen. We didn't really expect her to see Halloween, but she did. She made it through Halloween. She made it through Thanksgiving, made it through Christmas, and made it through New Year's. But in the end, she died on January 1st. So just last week. And it was, it was something that we expected, and my father and I were prepared for. I would say our Christmas and New Year's was pretty fucking miserable because we basically spent it all. Like I would go over there and give him a break so he could go and like shower and get out of the house for a little bit, but then he basically would take up a position in a chair next to our bed for the entirety of the other time that I wasn't there. So it was kind of it was just exhausting, and just just sitting there and just watching her not be. And not really,
Herself.
Yeah, not herself, not being a life that you would want anyone to live. It was really, and so it's actually been a relief that she has finally like gone, because she's no longer in pain. Like, I think that it was good for the rest of the family that came out and saw her in September, when she was still, having full conversations and playing Scrabble and hanging out with her grandson and all of that, because they wouldn't have wanted to see her like this. And it was something that it was like, it is a relief. It is something that was a burden to see like that, because you don't want anybody to be like that. So so that was January 1st, which of course is classic my mother, because in September, when she was given 2 weeks to live, I made a video, in like a memorial video that I put together, and I wasn't sure the exact date of her death, but I knew what year it would be, so I put her birth year to 2022. And of course, she lasted until the next day. So I had to go and re-edit the video for 2023. I was like, thanks, Mom. I'm sure that was on purpose. But so yeah, that's all like the sad parts that I've been going through. But I'm okay. I'm like, I've kind of had my own closure and everything like that. We've been kind of just going through the process now of going through everything. And this is just kind of maybe a story that will illustrate what I have been going through beyond simply being a caretaker for my mother. And essentially, I'm here with my father as well. And I told my mother that I would make sure he's okay before I leave, and I probably won't hit the road till the spring. But he asked me to clean out her room because he didn't really want to. And I said, sure, I'm happy to. This is before all the rest of the family got into town. So I started cleaning everything up, going through all the boxes of stuff that she had. She had just all these things. My mother had 43 different bottles of lotion and, 16 different chapsticks and all this, just all this stuff. And in all of the things that I was finding and organizing, I found a medical grade bag that had a singular tooth in it. And
all right.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And you didn't mishear me. Yes, just
interesting
one tooth.
find with all the lotions and everything else. Yeah.
Just a random small plastic bag with a tooth in it, like a full tooth too. Like, I don't think people realize sometimes how long teeth are when you pull them, but yeah. And I was like, Dad, and I walk out and I show it to him, and I'm like, why the hell did Mom just have a tooth here? He goes, yeah, they pulled it. I guess they must have given it to her if she wanted it, and she's your mother. She was a nurse. She probably that's things that she didn't, whatever. And I do seem to remember when she got like some gallstones one time, she asked for them and she had them in a little bottle. So, I was like, okay. My mother's morbid. She's always been morbid. That's where I got my dark sense of humor. That's cool. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to throw this away. Right. And my father says, no, give it to me. I want it.
All right.
So, I'm going to leave it to the audience to think for a second, and I just want everyone to see if they can think of any reason that my father might want that. What ideas might you have about why he might want that?
A piece, just like having ashes, I guess, a piece of her. Right. That's all I can really think of is like, okay, I told
Lisa,
ashes,
and he was like, does he want to make it into a necklace and like wear it around, and I was like, okay, yeah. So, okay, no, none of those things. I said, what do you want it for? He goes, well, that's an old filling that she had, like from back in the day when they used real gold. So I can sell this thing. I could go sell this tooth and get $50 for it.
$50. Come on.
$50. So I'm wondering, and I did not ask my father this, but I thought this. I'm absolutely did think, was he down at the funeral home saying, hey, can you make sure you yank out all of her teeth and give them to me first? Because I don't know, that could be $200 worth of gold in her mouth before you cremate her. Like, I really wonder. I don't think he did, but I wouldn't put it past him.
I just can't imagine him going to a pawn shop with a tooth going, what can I get for this?
This is, yeah. I've just recently been widowed. And this is, I'm a widower now, and this is my my dead wife's tooth. Can you take the gold out of this and give me money? Like, I mean, it's just like the whole concept of it. Like, it's morbid.
They want it? What can they do? I just don't understand how he's going to get money from that. That's a weird, I don't know.
I don't know either. But I really was like, well, Dad, you're missing out on all the gold. I mean, I'm sure she had other fillings too. Like, what the hell? I mean, did she ever have surgery? There might be some titanium parts in her, like, an elbow or something that could be worth money on the black market. Who the hell? Like, it's just at some point, it's like, okay, let's like maybe let's just move
Let it
past
go.
that. Like,
Yeah,
let it
let
go.
that
You know,
go. Yeah,
it's just,
in the trash. Yes.
not everything is something that you need to try to make money off of. So that illustrates, I think, what my life has been like, is trying to really figure out what craziness is going to come. What's going to happen. What are we going to sell next? Who knows? I mean, it's just I really have no idea.
Depends on
But
what you find.
yes, yes, and actually, this would be a good thing to ask listeners, because someone who listens might have an idea. The one thing that I feel really bad about is that we have a shitload of drugs now. Because, and I'm
Right.
not
Right.
talking opiates. There was, my mother was taking pain pills and everything. But beyond that, she also took. She was diagnosed diabetic because of the pancreatic tumor, and so she has a ton of insulin. And then she has things like there's a pill called Creon that you have to take in order to basically, it helps the pancreas act to make sure that you have essentially healthy bowel movements. And she had to take one every time she took a meal, like 4 times a day. She was taking one of these pills, and they're giant horse pills, and I think they cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars for every prescription, and they're going to go to waste. And I really hate the idea of throwing them away, but I cannot find any resource on I'm sure there's a family out there who could use insulin, family, because I know insulin is one of those big things that people go without insulin because they can't use it. Or I'm sure there's people who could probably use the Creon, but just basically live their lives sitting on the toilet when they eat food because they can't take this pill. And so I don't know. I wish there was some type of way, and maybe there is, that I'm not unaware of.
That's not illegal.
That's not illegal. Well, or I mean, it can be illegal, honestly. Like, I don't really, let's be honest. I really don't care. Like, but I don't want to be out there selling oxy or something. But if it's something I could donate or somehow find a family that could benefit from it, I would want to, because it just feels like such a waste, these meds. And I don't know what the legality is, but there should be some type of way to do a charity or something where people can donate non-opiate type pills to benefit people who need.
Yeah. When you brought this, I had never thought about that before.
Me either. It never
It's
occurred
always
to me.
just,
Yeah.
you drop them off because, don't flush them, drop them off at a designated place and be done with them. But yeah, if they're not opiates, there's something else that's also equally expensive. Like, can you do anything with them? I don't know.
So, I mean, the oxy, I've just been feeding into little deer food and just tossing it around for the deer to eat, because I just want to see
No, you're
if we can
not.
get a
No, you're not.
rampaging herd of oxy addicted deer.
Shut up.
I want to, see if they can make a new movie like that new Cocaine Bear movie that's coming out. Have you seen that?
Not the Cocaine Bear.
Have you seen it?
I have.
It's based on a true story.
We're gonna see this shit.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to go see it. But it's based on a bear who actually ate like a pound of cocaine. Now that bear died like an hour later from doing it. And I'm sure this bear is going to die in the movie too. But I'm like, yeah, we could have Oxy Deer coming to you from Utah.
Oh my god,
it'll be the sequel to Cocaine Bear.
Not. I was like, when I saw the Cocaine Bear thing, I was like, wow, an original movie idea.
I know, it's so insane. So anyways, that's just a small snippet of what's been going on in my life. And I'm looking forward to being in Utah and being able to I want to finish the book that I've been working on. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I'll have a little more time. I haven't left my condo in 2 full days because my brother and sister are here. They're helping my dad go through stuff. And I was like, that's your responsibility. I'm taking a break. And by taking a break, they thought I was going to go out and party or something. I'm like, no, fuck no. I just want to not talk to anybody for a little while.
Yeah.
So
understandable.
Yeah, here we are. And what's going on in your life now that you're living the high life in Seattle?
I mean, nothing crazy, to be honest. It's like every time people ask, I'm just laying low, just settling in still and figuring things out and trying to make friends, which is another reason why we're having this episode.
It leads right to this episode.
It leads right to this episode.
So many things in our life lead to we're like, how do we do this? Let's do it on an episode on it.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, I mean, so I've been, trying to figure out where I feel comfortable as far as workout studios, trying to meet people, and then the holidays in between all of that. So it's kind of been, I mean, November is a terrible time to move just because of all the holidays and stuff. It's hard to feel grounded in a new space as you're dealing with everything else kind of uprooting your life. But outside of that, some fun, not fun neighborhood stuff. There's a local cat that is thinking we're the owners, and I have. It's
so
just
a cat has adopted you.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just been an ongoing saga since we moved in because Roy's allergic, and it's actually funny how it started off. It's like Roy's allergic. He wants nothing to do with the cat. Only see the cat outside. Don't do anything. And then one night we're out at dinner. He's like, "It's gonna get really cold tonight. What are we gonna do about this cat?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? You hate cats. You're allergic. What do you mean? What we're gonna do?" So then it, was downstairs in my space because it can't be in Roy's space. So it's down here for the night because it was, 30 degrees and the cat was crying in front of our door. So like, what are you going to do? Leave it outside? So then it turned into, okay, well, it's staying overnight. So I need a litter box and I need some kind of food for it. It looks like it's being fed, but I don't know who owns this fucking cat. Then it turns into, we're going to be, away for a while coming up, and Roy's like, "So what are we going to do about this cat? Because if this cat, and neighbors keep coming by thinking it's our cat, telling us, hey, your cat's outside, bring your cat inside," and us having to say, "It's not our fucking cat. Please mind your goddamn business." Old ladies coming up saying, "Hey, your cat's so cute." Or, "Can I adopt this cat since you guys seem to not want it?" All of us just saying, "It's not our fucking cat." So yesterday, with I don't know, the fire under my ass to get all of these things done, I took this cat in my car and drove it to the vet to see if it had a chip. It does not have a chip. So that sucks. So then I leave notes for all of my neighbors. Like, come on, is this anybody's cat? I figured I would have known by now because I just haven't seen my neighbors out and about. I feel like we go on walks all the time and we're always outside of the house. I never see them. So I leave notes, and last night I get a text from one of my neighbors saying, "Oh, that's our cat. He doesn't get along with the dog very well, and he just likes being outside more than being inside because of his relationship with the dog. So the cat just stays outside." And I'm like, the fuck? Does the cat really like being outside, or is it just because you guys favor the dog? Because the cat is crying at our door at all hours of the day and night. From when I wake up at 5:30, it's fucking crying, to when I go to sleep. It's just trying to be inside and whatever. And yes, we have fed the cat, but we leave it. We don't it didn't start off this way. It's just the second we moved in, the cat was like, "Ooh, a new person," So I just feel like it's a lonely, I don't know. I get nasty looks from neighbors. I get people asking if they can adopt it. Now I know it's somebody's cat, and they, in my opinion, do a shit job of taking care of their fucking
Well, they probably
cat.
do a shit job because everyone else lets it into their house when it gets too cold. And so they're like, wow, that cat really doesn't care about the weather, does it? Or something like that, which is just ridiculous.
It's so crazy to me.
Well, the fact the cat comes to your door to whine when it gets cold means that whoever lived there before you must have let that cat inside all the time.
Oh, yeah. I fucking bet they did. So, but I feel bad. Now the cat, if the cat comes inside our house, I'm kicking it out because I don't want the neighbors now to think that we're stealing their cat. It's just I hate it. I just hate all of it. And this cat is so sweet. And we were ready to give it to another family yesterday because we had people lined up who wanted this cat. And then finally our neighbor's like, "Oh no, it's our cat." I'm like, put a fucking chip your fucking cat, number one, that you didn't do, and give it a collar or something, because everybody just thinks it's a stray, even though it's so friendly. I don't know.
No, I agree. It should actually have a collar, because there are the flea collars too that you want it to have, so it doesn't necessarily get sick. But also, yeah, it sounds like they don't give a shit about it. You should have just given the cat away to a real family, and then if they text you again, say, "Oh, we didn't know." So,
well, I think other neighbors were gonna take the cat anyways. This elderly woman came to our door and said, "My cat recently died, and I walk past your house every day, and this cat seems so nice. I didn't think it was
so
your
ridiculous.
cat. Can I take this cat home?" And Roy and I are like, "I mean, if you want it." This was 2 weeks ago. We're like, "Yeah, if you want it." And then she never came back. But it's every week someone knocks on her door about this fucking cat.
I
Every
love
week.
that you went from living in Nashville in a building for a year with the only person you knew in the building was another guy you banged, to being in a house in West Seattle, and then within 2 months getting into cat drama with all the old neighbors.
The nasty looks. I swear, I'm not going to be nice anymore. This morning I got the nastiest look from someone I opened the door because the cat was crying. So I was just going to peek out, maybe let it in. And the woman standing there with her dog, just "How dare you leave that animal out?" And I look at her, I was like, no, Kitty, you can't come in. But what I should have said is mind your own fucking business and keep walking your goddamn dog, you cunt. Like it was just
And
such
that's
a
how
nasty.
you make friends.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And then you made the comment. You're like, I bet you you're like all over next door and all of the Facebook groups of like this house. They're not taking care of their cat. Da 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 da. So I'm sure of it.
I know. Yeah, when animal control comes over for neglect, they're gonna be like, we have it looks like you've been neglecting your pet or something, and you're gonna have to explain.
It's not
to
our
them.
fucking cat. God damn it. Well, that's what I don't want to happen. If like, because we went away to Portland for the weekend and I was worried that, someone was going to call it in or so it's like anytime we leave the house for an extended period of time, now I'm worried someone's going to be knocking. So I'm like, do I leave a note saying, no, it's not our fucking cat? Like, I don't know.
Just put a giant sign into it that said, this is not our fucking cat. We don't want it. If you want it, please take it and give it a good home. And just put that on your front door.
Well, I was talking shit with you on the phone earlier today.
Yeah.
And I know the neighbors, they have a dog. And I walk past like 4 people walking their dogs down my street. And I'm like, I bet you one of them had to be my neighbors, as I'm like, these fucking neighbors with their fucking cat. And I'm like, oh, I didn't really think about that I could be passing those neighbors. Oops, I'm a terrible person.
Oh, I can't wait to see how this ends up, because I feel like it's just going to get more complicated and it's going to get worse somehow.
I'm telling you, animal control will be next. We're going to get a letter and some shit. And I'm going to have to be like, dude, please take well, I don't know. The vet was like, you could just, give it to another family or take it to an animal shelter, but they could end up killing it. I'm like, yeah, no, but let's not kill the cat. It's just, now this is my fucking burden to bear.
That's right.
I whatever.
Yeah. And everybody's allergic to cats in some capacity. So Roy can just take some Claritin and you'll be fine.
Oh, he likes the cat now. That's the thing.
Of course. So just
he hated it from the beginning of hi kitty, and you
meds.
do one pet. Now he's look at the cat. And he won't pick it up or anything, but he'll pet it for a long period of time. I mean, it's nice having an animal. Yeah, he's run through soap really quickly lately. Yeah. But lovely. That's about it.
yeah. How lovely. That will lead very well to our topic, which we will get to eventually. We have a few other things to get to before we get into how to make friends, and using Sarah's example on how not to make friends as well.
Get off my fucking lawn.
Let's see. Before we get into that, I want to give a quick shout out to a few of the countries where we popped up on their charts in the last month. That is huge shout out to Nigeria, Barbados, Slovenia, and Greece. So I know we've been on a few of those, but there's someone's over there binging the podcast, and I appreciate you. And then we had an email from a listener recently, and we do have a couple of voicemails to go through in the future episodes. So if you have left a voicemail, we will get to it, I promise. If you want to leave us a voicemail, you can always, first of all, you can email us at datingkindofsuckspodcast@gmail.com. And you can
Adam answers those. It's been a month since I looked at it.
Sarah forgot how to log in. I had to tell her how to, and if you want to listen to, or if you want to leave us an actual voicemail that we can play on air, you can do that. And the DKS hotline is 407-519-0181. So how should we get into this email? Do you want me to read it?
You do a better job at reading on a screen than I do. So yes, please read it, because I'm going to fumble and I need to increase my view of this.
So we have an email from a listener who's a man who reached out to us. He said, I am contacting you because I need some help. I am 24 years old and I have never been on a single date. I've never had my first kiss or anything. It comes from severe childhood trauma, extreme lack of self-confidence, and being overweight. I also was from a small town in Mississippi, so there was not a ton of opportunities for dating. Since then, I have lost nearly 100 pounds. I moved to a new city in Knoxville, and I have since started playing rugby, and I have a newfound confidence. I figured I would give Hinge a try, and I'm honestly getting a ton of matches. Just nothing productive is coming from these matches. I know it's my fault, because once the conversation is pretty much done, I don't take that next step in asking them out. Mainly because I don't really know how, because in the back of my mind, I'm still this fat kid with no confidence. I think I'm also afraid that once I do finally go on a date, she will realize I have no experience, and they might think that's weird. Finally, I matched with this absolutely gorgeous woman and eventually asked her out. To my surprise, she said yes. Don't get me wrong, I don't think I'm a bad-looking dude. I'm 6'2", I work out every day, and I've been told by multiple people while going out to bars and whatnot that I am attractive. but I am still in shock that she said yes to me asking her out. My dilemma is that this girl is out of town visiting family until the end of January. That means there's basically a month before we can go on a date. I just do not know how often I should be messaging her in the meantime. I do have her number, but obviously we aren't dating. I know messaging every day is too much, but I don't know if messaging her too less would be an issue or not. I also know once the date happens, I will be so scared because it will be my very first one. Any advice?
Well, first off, I'm really happy to hear that he's gaining confidence and having the confidence to even download a dating app and put yourself out there in that type of way is a big step and a lot of work to build up to. So I think that's good. I also think because he doesn't have a lot of dating experience and because the timeline is short, now it's what, January 10th, if he hasn't already gone on a date with her, that this is the time to rip the Band-Aid off. I think you can shake off the nerves of this first one and see, okay, this is how it's going to go. And don't get so invested in the end result of like, you might want a relationship. Don't focus on that. Focus on the baby steps of, okay, asking someone out. Okay, going on a date. Like, why not try it with this person? You seem to like her through conversations. And to the text point, don't worry about how much, just text like you would your friends, just be simple with it and just ask to grab drinks, or do you want to hang out at whatever event, if there's an event in town or whatever, of, I don't know, something super casual to just meet up. It doesn't have to be this, let me take you to this fancy dinner and make this big event of first date, whatever. Just take it slow and be chill about it and rip the Band-Aid off with this person.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, he says, his issue is this whole messaging thing. No, we have a lot of other issues to talk about here, buddy.
Yeah.
Let's start with that. First of all, the fact that you haven't been dating at all, it's okay. It's not a big deal. It's okay to be nervous. It's natural to be nervous. You need to start going on dates.
You'll be nervous the next 3 dates you go. You know what
exactly,
I mean?
Exactly.
It's not going to be one.
So you need to start going on dates. Like that's actually the biggest suggestion I have is stop. On these hinge conversations are when they're going well and the person seems interested, then just take the leap and say, so, would you like to grab a drink some night? Would you like to, and be specific. And if they say yes, say, okay, my Thursday is free. Would you like to meet at 7 p.m. at this place or whatever? Like try to be confident, set like the actual, schedule. This is what we're going to do. And people respond positively to that. And if they say, no, how about this time? Then roll with it and say, okay, that's fine too, and whatever they want as well. And, meet up, go on dates, because I'll tell you, your first one is probably going to be terrible. I mean, it's very likely going to be, yeah.
Don't expect it to be good. Yeah, you're going to say weird things. They might react to weird. I mean, weird shit's probably going to happen, but then you'll be like, oh, I know not to do that again. And then the next one, it's just like, I don't know, dating 101. This is your intro class, and the next step, you won't do some of the things you did in the first one. And yeah.
Exactly. I mean, my first date with my ex-wife was, that was my first date as an adult, and I was 21 and, nervous, and it was awkward and weird, and everything. And, we did have other future dates, obviously, and then got married. But then after I got divorced, it was 10 years later and I was going on my next first date. And it was another kind of awkward. It was fun, but it was like once we got into it and kind of got into the conversation, it was great. But like I was so nervous for it, and you're going to be as well. So you need to. The more you do it, the easier it is. It's like just like with anything. So get some dates in there before you even go on the date with her, just to get them out of the way. But also, as far as texting her, as far as messaging her, it just if you have anything interesting to say it, and ask her how she's doing. Ask her, if you got anything interesting worth like talking about. You can message her. You can always ask her too. I don't know if you're a phone person. You can always say, hey, do you like to talk on the phone? Because sometimes people do. Some people don't, and you want to respect that. And some people do. So it's just a matter of, just figuring out a communication style that works. And I would say, the one thing, and this is something that rubbed me a little bit wrong on your email that I wanted to mention, was that like you're saying these people are, that you're matching people, and you're like, well, she's absolutely gorgeous. That's not a reason to date somebody. You're right. Just if they're interesting, if they have a good conversation, if they can be attractive, you find them attractive, but that shouldn't be the
reason you want to go out with them is so you have arm candy is not the right approach. Now it's also going to take some like self-talk of, I'm worthy of meaningful connections no matter what the person looks like. So like we've talked about in previous episodes, there is no like rating of, oh, he's a 10, oh, he's a 9, oh, he's what, like that's shitty to say, oh, I'm dating a 10 or whatever. Don't be fixated on the looks. Yes, looks do help, but don't say, oh, I never thought I'd be bagging a 10 or whatever. Right. That's not.
Yeah, let's avoid using numbers at all if we can.
Please, God.
And the other thing to keep in mind too is that everybody has insecurities. Everybody's flawed. Everybody gets nervous, including really extremely attractive women. In fact, some of them sometimes are the most insecure because they never know if someone's interested in them as human beings or just based on their looks. So they have a lot of issues with that. So just be yourself, be respectful, be kind, and just try to relax a little bit, I think, and practice at dating.
Firsts are never that good. First kiss,
true.
First time having sex, not that. First date with the first date ever, not that good. So don't put so much pressure on yourself because it's going to be a fun learning experience, and that's what it's all about.
Yep, exactly. So thank you for emailing. If you have a question you'd like answered, you can email us at datingkindasuckspodcast@gmail.com. And of course, you can always call us on the DKS hotline at 407-519-0181.
And with that, we'll be right back with What to See with Sarah G. Yeah. So this week's What to See with Sarah G, we are going to be exploring St. Louis, Missouri. I've been here a lot. My brother lives in St. Louis. I think it's a very underrated town in terms of smaller cities to visit in the United States. And Adam lived in St. Louis while he was going to law school. So you have some insight in things to do or not to do in St. Louis. So this will be fun.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, great. So we'll start with a little bit of a backstory on St. Louis. It's commonly referred to as the gateway to the West because it was the famed jumping off point for the Louisiana Purchase expedition of Lewis and Clark. And there's actually a town right outside of St. Louis called St. Charles. And it's apparently the official spot that has a sign and everything stating Lewis and Clark. So if you're really into that, go to St. Charles. It's a suburb right outside of St. Louis. Anyways, the city started with a lot of French influence and in the 1800s gained Irish and German. Hang on, let me say that again. Anyways, the city started with a lot of French influence and in the 1800s gained Irish and German immigrants who laid roots in the city. Which, fun fact, there are 79 different neighborhoods throughout St. Louis. And in some, you can actually really tell the influence of the different cultures. Like there's one neighborhood called The Hill, which is the Italian area. And it's a pretty cool place to just drive around and see how
there's
different.
Like Virgin Mary statues sitting outside every house. They all have like little
That's
Italian
so true.
flags.
Yeah.
It's so funny. No, it is very Italian. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, outside of the history of the city, there is one monument that really drives the point home of the gateway to the West, and that is the St. Louis Arch that is right next to the Mississippi River. And with the city and the arch, they actually put a lot of building code up, so you can't build any structure taller than the arch. So as you're driving throughout the city, you'll see the arch of like, hey, that's the arch. Hey, maybe that's just what my brother does, but you can see it throughout many parts of the city, which I also think is pretty cool. And as far as if you should visit the arch, because it's like the main attraction, yes, you should. You can actually take an elevator up to the top. Adam, have you done this? Have you been up? I should have figured you haven't.
Number one, I don't do touristy shit, and secondly, I'm not getting in some little small elevator that was built in 19 whatever to go to the top of a fuck no.
Fun fact, did you know, this is just me remembering from the tour, because OSHA standards didn't exist during that time, the photos they have of them building the arch, I'm like, I'm surprised nobody died building this because people are just hanging from, ropes and stuff, putting the arch together. Anyways, you can definitely take the elevator to get up. I would just be a little cautious if you're claustrophobic because it's kind of an egg-shaped elevator that has 4 seats inside and you might have to like hunch over. But if you're there and you have some free time, worth checking out. Now, let's start with police. What?
You saying that you'd have to hunch over too. Like it's like, like getting in your car.
Yeah.
Like if you think it's small, then I can't only imagine. Yeah, there's no way I would ever do it.
Fair enough. Well, let's move on to places to eat. I have a lot of favorite spots, and then there's a few more popular spots that I think are okay, but I'm still going to mention those as well. And I'm no food critic, but these are just my top picks. First up is the most Midwestern thing you'll ever hear me talk about, and that is a place called Twisted Ranch. Um, you guessed it, ranch. That's a Midwestern thing. They offer 33 homemade ranch sauces, and you can order a sampler of ranch sauces that come with 13 different flavors and a basket of fries. So when you're there, order that and then order a meal that comes with a side of fries, so you can just have all the fries to dip in your ranch. It's a good time. I mean, like it's the I'm sad when I don't go there when I'm in St. Louis.
I'm sad that I've never been there because I definitely that. I mean, I would just want forget the fries and stuff. Can you just spoon the sauces and just eat them?
Yeah, they're
Do
like
shots.
little sauce. Yeah, do shots of it. Yeah. The next spot to check out is Mission Taco Joint. At certain times, they have a happy hour and an after 10 p.m. menu that offers $2 tacos and $2 tequila shots. I went here for a bachelorette party. This was a good call. So even if you're not there during those times where they have those $2 deals, it's a good place for tacos, burritos, alcoholic beverages, all of that. And then there's also the Broadway Oyster Bar, which is a fun New Orleans style restaurant serving all of the Cajun food you can imagine. They have nightly music and a really cool outdoor patio too that kind of feels like you're not in the, I don't know, it just feels more tropical on the patio, which is fun. And then I've never been to this spot, but Ted Drew's Frozen Custard, there's always a line every time I've been outside of the place. I've just never had it. And there's a vending machine in the airport, so it must be good, I guess. Have you been there?
Yeah, well, there's several locations, but I went to one. It was good. Like, but I'm also like, ice cream is custard is ice cream. Like to me, there's not really that. They're not that different. I mean, so I understand why people like it, but like I put enough toppings in there, anyways. It doesn't. You could give me anything and I'd eat it and say it was good. So,
all right. Verdict: don't go there for Matt. Don't bother. And then there's a couple other popular spots. There's Emo's Pizza. It's all over St. Louis as well. I hear it's just mediocre pizza, so it's a thing, but whatever. And then St. Louis is also famed for toasted ravioli, which I just found out pretty recently. I've had it. I just think it's okay. I'm not dying to have it, but I guess if you go to an Italian restaurant and they have it, order it and see if you like it.
Well, it's like an appetizer you can get pretty much at every restaurant, I think, because it's their specialty. It's like when you get into like Wisconsin and they have like cheese curds is their thing, so every place has their variety of cheese curds. Every place has like different variety of toasted ravioli and everything like that. And yeah, it's like it's good, but it's also weird. Like it's like they're worth trying, I would say.
I didn't know they were on every menu. I guess I just haven't been looking for it.
I mean, not every menu, but like it's one of those things that like most places have some type of appetizer version of toasted ravioli that I remember.
Okay, well, give it a shot for food wise. That's that. Let's move on to places to visit. My absolute favorite outside of seeing the St. Louis Arch and going up in the elevator is the City Museum. It's a really fun place. Yes, there's a lot of kids there, but it's also fun for adults. It's actually built on the grounds of an old shoe factory, and it has 4 floors and a rooftop area that's filled with art installations that you can climb, crawl, and slide on. And yes, I said slide. There is a 10-story slide. I think there's 2 10-story slides in the building. And it's just one of my favorite spots. Bring tennis shoes and something that you're going to sweat in, because you'll get lost crawling in some of the areas. It's a blast. It's like $20 for a ticket, but totally worth it. And pretty unique to the city. Next is the St. Louis Zoo. I know it's a zoo and they have zoos in other cities, but this one is massive and it's free admission. So if you're there and you have some time to kill, it's a really fun spot to just go and enjoy everything that they have set up there. Just depending on where you park, that might not be free, but it's a fun free activity in the city. And then on a nice day, visit the Missouri Botanical Garden. They actually have a 4.8-star rating with almost 13,000 reviews on Google. And it has lots of events that go on through each season. Really, you guessed it, plants everywhere. Really pretty plants and, I don't know, greenhouses and things like that on 78 acres that you can enjoy. And then St. Louis is also known for beer because of Anheuser-Busch. So if you're there, you gotta go get the tour of the facility, see the Clydesdales, and have a taste test. After your tour, you can also get a free voucher for a beer. And then right next to Anheuser-Busch, not far anyways, is Ballpark Village. If you're there during the spring, summer, you can catch a St. Louis Cardinals baseball game. And then as far as other neighborhoods to check out, Soulard is a really cool area. Roy and I always talk about how they have the best farmers market that we've ever been to. They have food, drinks, local vendors, live music, a lot of just outdoor space that I think it's a really cool spot. And then Central West End is another area of town that's really nice to walk around and check out all the local shops. And across from Central West End is Forest Park, which has over 1,300 acres of just open park. And there's a really cool free museum that's right there and a little lake area. They just have a lot of nice free activities you can do in St. Louis. So yeah. And then places to avoid in St. Louis, don't get confused because both Adam and I, well, you don't really have a horror story, do you?
Not on my own, no.
Well, just don't go to East St. Louis. It sounds like it's part of St. Louis. It's in Illinois, and it's very unsafe. I was driving from Nashville to St. Louis, and I was like, oh, I'm running low on gas. I'll just stop. My brother told me not to, but I was like, it's just it's a gas station off the side of the road. Like, how bad could it be? No, it was pretty bad. Like, I was very scared. It was not a good feeling. So don't stop in East St. Louis. Just don't.
East St. Louis is it's to be like, if you drive through in the middle of the day, you're like, you'll see it and it'll be like, wow, when I can't, like, it looks like a town that is constantly like at war. It's crazy.
It's like a zombie wars. Like, I don't, it just gives me like the zombie war zone vibes of just like a lot of like hard looking buildings, and just, it looks rough.
Downtown, like there's just cars like with no wheels just sitting in like at the the street parking that's supposed to be monitored, but nobody monitors it. All the meters are broken down, so there's no parking meters. And I remember my ex-wife worked for legal aid for summer, and so she would go over there during the day and would work. And one day she came out and she had parked on the curb, like in front of her building, and her entire car was like her back two wheels were up on the curb. So like someone had just basically driven into her car hard enough to knock the rear half of her car up onto the curb, and then just driven off, and no problem. And it was that was crazy. And then a good friend of mine from law school could never sleep at night, and the liquor stores were closed in St. Louis. So he would actually drive over to East St. Louis at like 3 a.m. with one of the liquor stores open. And he is just this big dumb white guy from Kentucky to get a bottle of Jim Beam. And I was like, I'm impressed. He goes, yeah, I do that all the time. I think they know me now. And I was like, that is not a good thing.
Yeah, no. So just don't stop to get gas in East St. Louis. Just drive on past into St. Louis. That's my recommendation.
And then the only things that I would talk about too in St. Louis would be, like the neighborhoods are really cool to visit. There's there's a transportation museum that I really like. It's a bunch of old trains that was really cool. That's in the heart of St. Louis. And of course the campuses, there's a bunch of schools there that are all they're very St. Louis University has a really cool campus, and so does Washington University. They're kind of fun to go through. And then nearby there is a place called Cahokia Mounds, which is kind of a cool little burial thing in Illinois. It's just over the border. That was fun. But all the restaurants, it's funny. I didn't go to, Sarah and I were talking about this. I didn't go to, when I was there, we just picked chain restaurants for some reason. We always went to Outback. We went to Outback because we stole a knife every time we went. So I still have the full collection here 20 something years later of steak knives. But we like the steak knives. But we go to Outback all the time, and then we would go to like California Pizza Kitchen, or go to when I went somewhere fancy, went to like Ruth's Chris. And I was telling Sarah this story, but I remember I was like 21, and Amy and I were going to go out to, they had the barrister's ball, which is like the law school prom they do. And so we dressed up, we went out to a fancy dinner, and it was either at Ruth's Chris or at like the steak restaurant inside the Marriott right in downtown that was really fancy. And I remember I was I was 21. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing, but they come over and we to order, and I'm like, I think I'd like the filet mignon. What does it come with? And the waiter's like, well, sir, it's a la carte. And I say, oh, I understand. But so what does that come with? And then he had to be like, sir, a la carte means that you just purchase each individual item separately. And I felt like such a dumbass, and I had no idea. It was so embarrassing, and I will never forget that, obviously. It's just the way he did it too. He was like such a douchebag about it as well. I just had no concept of what a la carte meant because I'd never been to a restaurant where you didn't, it was like it was a steak that came with things. I went to Outback all the time where it was like, you get a steak, you get a salad, you get a potato, like that was my experience. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, so that's St. Louis, and I don't have anything much else to add to it. I kind of think if I went back now that I'm a little bit more social, that I probably have some different experiences to suggest as well, but I don't.
Yeah. All I can say about Cahokia Mounds is there's a rest station not far from that. And Roy took a shit in that rest stop and was like, I left my Cahokia Mound. Never been there,
Oh my
but
God.
when you said that, I was like, oh, that's my only memory of that.
That's your memory of that. Well, that was What to See with Sarah G. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about how to make friends.
Whether you're moving to a new city or you've lived in an area for a while, it is really challenging to make friends. I think especially after the pandemic, right? Because everyone's so used to just staying inside and staying put that going
Right.
out and meeting a big group of people, it's not like the thing you really want to do and spend the energy and everything getting ready. And I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier in the episode of, I'm trying to find my groove of meeting people and, hanging out with people outside of just Roy. And it's been really challenging. What have I done? I signed up for on meetup.com and joined a bunch of groups on there. I get the emails all the time. I have not done any of the events. I'm like, oh, there's a thing going on. Yeah, I'm not doing that. A lot of it's hiking stuff. And I'm like, nah, it's too cold. And then there's Bumble, which I downloaded Bumble for, the BFF feature. I told Roy about it. I was like, look, you'll see Bumble on my phone, but it's to make friends, and created a profile and everything on there, which obviously feels a lot like dating because you're setting up stuff and you're like, do I look approachable and like someone who would be a good friend? You're reviewing your photos for that, which is a weird thing to think instead of, from a dating perspective, but it's similar. And then actually meeting up with people who I connected with on Bumble BFF and going, this is not what I expected this person to be like, just based off of our conversation and their photos. Totally not the same person I thought. They were more introverted and I was more extroverted, and just conversation didn't flow. And I just knew, within the first 5 minutes, this probably isn't going to work out, which sucks because I want to make it like it's different because I'm not trying to fuck this person. Like I want to be their friend. Like I'm not, it's weird.
Right.
I should feel like even if we don't completely vibe right then and there, I should want to keep like hanging out with them so that thing can grow. But then I'm like, is that worth my time? Because do I look at it from the dating lens of, I didn't really vibe with them when I first met them, should I just let that go? And then I think of past friendships of, I didn't really vibe with them immediately just because of how things were, and we ended up being really close friends, so should that hold me back? I don't know. It's been a lot of just thinking as I'm dating,
Right.
that it's the same thing, and I'm putting myself out there, and I hate I hate it because I'm like, I'm not even trying to date you. Like, I just want to be your friend. And it seems so complicated because people are still sizing each other up of, oh, well, you do this. Oh, well, you do that. Interesting. Oh, you own a house. Oh, you don't. And obviously I don't want people who are going to size me up. And it's just it's dating. It's literally dating all over again.
Except you're not blowing them at the end.
You're right. Yeah, I'm not.
Just fewer
Not yet.
blowjobs.
Not yet. Or like, should I make guy friend? Like,
right.
I think I should make. I've seen like guys on Bumble BFF, and I'm like, do they know that they're a BFF? Or like, how does that go? If I match with a guy on Bumble BFF, are they strictly just going to take? Because I'm not against having guy friends. Obviously,
Sure.
I'm your friend, but beating them on a dating app that's primarily used for dating, and then I don't know, that's weird to me too. So I'm just like sticking with meeting other women, but then I'm getting a lot of matches from guys. It's interesting.
I would say that there's probably, you have to be careful about the men on Bumble BFF because there's going to be a percentage of them that see it as some way to date, like, or as some way to kind of weasel their way into it. And then there'll be a percentage of them that are probably just looking for friends.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like, how soon do you stay after? Because I'm afraid to swipe right on a guy because it feels like, swiping right on a dating app, know, we are
matched. There might also
now.
be like men who are on there who are gay and just like using Bumble BFF because they want female friends too. That might be what they're looking for. So that's one way to do it. And meetups. Oh, and I'll set you up on friend dates too.
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
which is funny. I'm just like, here's someone that lives there. Go out and have fun. Go do something.
Meet and be friends.
Yeah, it can be hard to make friends as an adult. Like it is a challenge. I think that I was lucky in the sense that I lived in Orlando and basically the same place for so many years that I had built friends, friendships from the beginning. I have found it hard to do it, but then once I actually had my base of friends, and then I tried, whenever I tried something new that I'd make more new friends. When I started stand-up comedy, I made, kind of my comedy friends. When I started running the social media conference, I made my friends in that arena. When I started going to Ale House, 4 days a week, I made my circle of friends there. When I
Your Ale House
the
friends.
strip club friends, like I just like it really,
Right.
but it really was. I think my way of making friends is to go be a regular somewhere. And then but I don't usually make friends with the other customers, generally speaking.
The people working there.
I make friends with the staff, and I don't know what that is that says about me, but that tends to be what I do. Is I'll go and make, I'll occasionally make friends with the people that are also regulars, but usually they're part of the group that hangs out with the staff as well. I mean, Ale House is a great example. I mean, I would go out with a couple of bartenders, would go out at, when nights they're off or whatever, would do something, it was just like, it was nice. And it was just, that was a group of people that I liked. And I also, maybe because I like service industry people too, I feel like they're kind of fun to hang out with. So that's, I think that, it can be a challenge. So I think the first thing you have to figure out is, do you really want friends? That's like the first question, right?
I do want friends, but I think
But why?
I want to feel part. So I want to feel part of the Seattle community.
Okay.
And I think I felt part of the Nashville community when I first moved to Nashville because I had a job where I was going into the office every single day. So I was cool with my coworkers. So I felt connected and getting that, that extroverts, just getting that energy out,
Right.
and just interacting with other people. And then I became friends with my coworkers. So then I felt like, oh, cool. I have, which it didn't really work out for me, but like
Sure,
I
sure.
felt like at the time I had a group of people that I trusted and vibed with, and we saw each other at work and had fun, and it was all like fine. But what I failed to do in Nashville was I failed to fully dive into organizations within the city. I did things here and there, but I didn't find one that I really was very passionate about and spent a lot of time like it was my hobby, because I was spending time dating, I was spending time traveling, I was spending time making the podcast, that like adding anything else to my list on working out and going to work, it was like, I don't have time for this. So I think the looking at it through a different lens is, okay, so I don't have and a lot of people are remote, right? I don't have the going into the office and socializing and doing the after work happy hours or anything like that. And I honestly don't know if I'd want to do that now with the energy I don't have for that.
Right.
So now it's like, okay, well, I free up, now that I don't have a commute and things, I free up time to be able to volunteer at organizations or find causes and things that I might be passionate about and meet people there. And I've already started. I haven't like gone to
cat rescue.
No, I don't really no. I don't really want to go that route. I want to go back to like my roots of like being in the arts. Like I used to be in theater and chorus and color guard and all of that, where I don't want to, volunteer or work at a school like I used to, but I'd like to be involved in some kind of theater program where I can volunteer, work the ticket sales or do things that, it's not a part-time job. I'm not going to get paid for it, but I'm going to volunteer in a way where I feel like I'm part of a community and can contribute in that way, because I've gone off the rails and also worked a bunch of part-time jobs where I meet people, but it's not in the same community-based aspect because people come and go from jobs.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I think like your spa job in Nashville, it doesn't really feel like you made any friends from that.
No, everyone ended up hating me in the end. So maybe not everybody, but a lot of people did not fucking like me in the end.
So to me, and then obviously we're just talking about your specific situation, not like everybody's, but it actually doesn't sound like friends. It sounds like the community, and which I think you identified, but I think that's an important aspect, different like differentiation. You're not looking for somebody who wants to just like
hang out randomly on
play
a
a tabletop
Tuesday
game or whatever. Like that's not you're not looking for that type of vibe. You're looking for the vibe of participating in something that makes you feel cool about being part of the community and meeting other people who also like doing cool things that are part of the community. So,
well, I think that's a good first step. Like, yes, I would like to develop into having closer one-on-one relationships where someone's coming over for a dinner party or whatever. But
sure.
I don't think after a couple of Bumble friend dates that I'm going to get there by this one-to-one approach. Because
Right.
I want more than just one, you know what I mean? I want more than just one friend. So it's like going to meetups would be better.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
agree. And I think that that's really what a lot of people should probably do. And I think that not either meetups through like meetup.com meetups or local communities, like, the community theater, whatever, community arts, anything like that, like looking and seeing what they need for volunteers, looking and seeing when they have events at all, any type of events. And also now that you are a little bit, that you're kind of the upper middle class as well, you could also do events that are charity events where they like $100 a plate, come and support this thing, and dress up and get to go out. You and Roy go out, as long as he has his mullet. He has to have his mullet when you go out to fancy things, and go out to have drinks and then talk to people. And they'll put you at tables with people, and you'll meet people that way too.
Yeah,
And
that's a good point.
that can be a kind of a neat way to do it as well. And then there's things like
Facebook groups.
Facebook groups. Well, I was gonna say no, but it was still like other types of things, or like the like in Orlando, there was the what's it called, the not geek nerd, Orlando nerd fuck, I'm forgetting the name of what it was, but he was doing like every 6 weeks he'd have like almost like a TED talk type thing where somebody would come. It was an event everybody would go to, and someone would give a cool talk about some kind of topic that was related to in some way pop culture, fashion, whatever it was, and it was a group of people that would just get together and kind of do this stuff, and everybody kind of got to know each other over those times, those times as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also offer to speak at those types of things, when you see somebody's looking at, they do things like that about there's a variety of topics that you have a good experience, how to travel on your own would be a fantastic one. Because I remember one in Orlando, my friend Danielle, actually, I met her after that, but she was speaking about using Tinder to couch surf internationally. And so, she had a whole little slideshow. It was a 10-minute little thing, or a 20-minute, and that was it. And then everybody wanted to talk to her, and, she made a bunch of friends from it. So,
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I definitely could go the route of like going to events and paying for whatever. I had thought also about paying for, which I'm not going to do, but paying for like a co-working space that has community
sure.
events part of it. But it's a little pricey, and it's like I already have a desk set up here, but I do think it would be worth, like, I think I need to get out of this fucking house, right?
It's also deductible for your taxes, by the way.
Well, you need to help me figure that out. Anyone who's a CPA, please help a girl out. But things like that of just, I need to get out of the house and do things, because I'm not going to meet people just staying inside all the time. So
right.
I need to, I mean, workout classes are tough because everyone's in their own mindset of like their workout and then they leave, but trying to find something to hold on to. Cause I felt like, I had a little bit of that in my workout classes in Nashville and things, but I mean, overall it's challenging, and just trying to put yourself out there and feeling uncomfortable doing it. And I'm not even trying to date anyone. I'm just trying I'm just trying to be friendly and like meet people. But you learn real quickly, like, oh, I think I just said something that offended the girl I'm on a friend date with, because our sense of humor is not the same. Or, this came off really awkward. I don't think she likes me anymore. I want to just leave. So it's
yeah. Well, that's why I think, you might do better in large groups and meet people, and kind of meet a group of people, and then kind of as you get to know them on social media, you can also start to learn which ones might be along your lines of, I think that's kind of the best way to make friends as an adult sometimes, is to like be part of like a Facebook group or something like that's like, and then meet them in person. So at least you have that kind of in-person interaction. You kind of see which people you maybe had the most chemistry with, and then you also kind of keep an eye on their social media to see what kind of person they are, and if you click as well. It's like a multi-tiered approach.
Yeah, that's a good point. Always follow on social.
Yes, I think, because I think that's kind of important. And for me, it's just I like making friends to a degree. Like I enjoy it to a degree, but like I can go to a bar and have equally as much fun if I'm sitting there by myself, just chatting with the staff, than if I have a friend there also who I'm also chatting with. Like it doesn't it doesn't really necessarily enhance my experience in any way. If I want to go do karaoke, I will just go to a bar and do karaoke. I don't need somebody to go
Right.
with me to do it, and chances are if I go to a place and do karaoke, I'm going to end up chatting with people there while I'm there anyways, because we're all there to do karaoke. So it just kind of happens organically.
But you never connect with them after the fact, though, right?
Sometimes,
Unless
yeah.
they're regulars.
Yeah, they're regulars. Yeah, sometimes I have. One bar when I was going to the bar here, the only bar in town. I was talking to somebody and like he invited me out to go bowling with his girlfriend. They're like, "Yeah, we're part of the only bowling league in town. We do this every Tuesday." And I was gonna go one Tuesday, but I just wasn't feeling it, so I just didn't go. But like I could have gone, like, and I probably would have met a group of people and everything like that. And then I realized that I would have to bowl, and so that wasn't exactly something that I was on my list of things that I don't know that I'm a bowler.
Yeah.
Like
It
I
has to be
enjoy
the
like every now and then, but
to do a regular thing that you don't really enjoy is like, well, why am I doing this?
yeah. And like I think trivia nights are actually a good way to meet people if you're like that, if you are kind of you're like, because like you like to be part of community. I don't give a shit about community. I don't want to participate in the arts community or anything like that stuff. Like it's just not me. But like I go to a trivia night at a bar or something like that, and usually people looking for teams, or you sit next to a team and then they're doing well and you kind of talk to them afterwards. But it all requires you being willing to put yourself out there and take that first step of just chatting with people. And it can be nerve-wracking to do that sometimes.
Yeah. It's also tough because I know who I am. And I feel like when I'm in a setting where everybody's new to me, I have to water myself down because I say fuck a lot, or, just things that I don't think about. And I'm like, oh, don't curse as much. Oh, maybe don't say that.
Yeah, fuck that.
I don't know. I just feel, and I shouldn't, even if in a dating scenario, I wouldn't want to box myself in and not feel like myself on a date. But I don't know why it is with friends that it takes some like warming up to more than like dating. I'm like, here it all is, all hanging out, literally. And then with dating, I'm like, oh, like I'm super nice. Well, fuck that, and then like later it's like this fucking bitch over here, because I don't know that. I don't know. I approach it very differently.
Well, I think that women in society are kind of trained to tone police themselves, that to not do things like to say fuck a lot and things like that, because it's just not what you do. And it's unfortunate, but it does, it is a thing that I think like society's like told women you have to watch how you come across. And it's unfortunate. You are less likely than than a lot of people that do that. You are more open about who you are, I think, quicker, but it is still something people that affects people.
Yeah. Well, it's also weird too to just talk about yourself for an extended period of time of, oh, what do you like doing? All of these things. And I'm like listing out all of these, things that I like doing. And then the other person's like, cool. Okay, here's all the things I like doing. I'm like, this is not a fucking conversation. Or like, it's weird to just like go back and forth. Like, here's all the things I do. Do we match? And I'm like, this is just so awkward. Let's just, like, look at my relationship with you. Like, we didn't have very much in common and we're good friends. It's not like, oh, you like to hike? So do I. Like, our relationships, like, yes, we have the podcast, but it's not based on.
No.
I think it's just our crudeness and like just.
That's what it is. It's based on being bags of garbage is what it is.
Pretty much. Like, because my other friend, that's the same thing. She's like, I'm a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. We're great friends. Like, but we can be like funny and just open about it. So it's finding those people, but also like not trying to offend right out the gate. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird dynamic.
Now, I will say that, it's hard to find people like that. I think that I know I'm very privileged in the sense that and you are to a degree, but you don't use it to the degree that I do. We have this audience, and then beyond this audience, I have the TikTok audience and I have the Facebook audience, like just from doing stand up across the country, is I've had these little kind of parasocial relationships with people, just, people who follow that. Then if I'm like, hey, I'm in this area, then I have somebody who already knows who I am. They already know the shit that I like. And so it's the hard part's kind of done. It just depends on whether or not I actually can tolerate them. And so it's like, it takes a lot of it out of the equation. I have a lot less pressure. I can just go and have a good time regardless and, meet up with people. And I think that doesn't help any listeners because listeners aren't going to really have that,
Yeah,
that same
that's not
advantage.
helpful.
But we do, and it is something that helps us with as far as being able to reach out if we want.
It's weird because the way that I'm trying to approach friends in like the one-to-one is how I think I would feel if I was desperately dating. Like I want it to work
Right.
so well for someone to be my friend
Yeah.
that I'm willing to say and do the right things and be uncomfortable so they want to hang out again. And
Right.
it's a really harsh reminder of like, why are you doing that? Like you're not having fun doing that. And that means you probably are not going to vibe with that person long term. So don't do that.
Yeah, it is the same. It is really dating. And actually I make a lot of friends through dating apps, not through BFF, but just as I match with people and I'm like, I can tell that there's not going to be the chemistry that I look for. But they seem like cool people. So then there's that potential to be like, well, let's go grab a drink and just like hang out and just be friendly and have it, no, there's no romantic aspect to it. Once we're both clear, have the communication that's important. But that has actually worked really well for me as well. And I would say I've made a lot of friends from that. And I've also, and I don't know if this is just something that I do, and that I've also made friends from people that I went out with in a romantic sense. And then, maybe we had sex or we hooked up or something, and then it just kind of like, nothing really, like it just wasn't, this isn't going to be happening a long term. Let's just be friends instead. And now we're really good friends.
And you're actually friends
and genuine friends. Like, yeah, it's because
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that word didn't really work out the way. So we're both good with just being friends. And I think that takes a certain level of, I don't want to like pat myself on the back and say emotional maturity, but maybe emotional detachment to be able to step back and just be like, this is better. So let's just be friends.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think for me that would work out. Just, I'm not going to.
No, because the guys you choose are terrible. And so that's really.
Okay.
So
let's start off with that.
Yeah, that's not your fault. I mean, like, but even the ones that were not terrible you try to be friends with, they couldn't handle it. Like they just didn't have, because I don't think they were actually being quite honest with themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's harder for women than it is for men.
100%.
In that stance. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't think men generally, we did a whole episode on, do men actually like women? And, it's hard for men to want to be friends with women when they don't actually like women in the first place.
Right. Which is why I'm trying to start with just making girlfriends.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Girlfriends, like I said, gay male friends, kind of a good way to go too.
Yeah. Hopefully, in the theater community, for me, it really starts with community. It's like finding the big group and then, from there it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. That's my approach.
I would say you could probably go and have a little walking group with all the old ladies from your neighborhood and be all friends with Gertrude.
Fuck those old ladies who
Edith
give me nasty looks.
And Mabel and all their names.
You're not far off.
It's like, oh, you don't need to watch Better Call Saul, do you? But there's an episode where he basically he has all these senior citizens as his clients, so he goes on mall walks with them, and so he'll just be like, doing the little walk with them and chatting with all the old ladies, and it's pretty great. I can see you do that. You can go on mall walks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be boxed in with having friends in a certain age either, because I'm part of different Seattle Facebook groups, and people will post, again, a vulnerable post of 5 photos of themselves, a bio of like, hey, I'm new to the area, or hey, I've lived here, and a little thing about them. And based off of the photos, comments and likes on those posts vary so much just based off of what they post about. And then it's like, okay, well, is anyone even meeting up? Is this even like a good thing to do? And like, oh, I don't want to connect with this person because she's 22 and I'm 30, like, I feel like there's like that level of, oh, I don't want to be her friend because she's older than me or whatever. And I'm like, I mean, it's just your maturity. I don't think it's like, oh, I don't want to be friends with, I'm not going to seek out friendships with like,
you're not me.
Yeah, I'm not going to be like, oh, like I'll be friends with this. Like, I want to keep around my age group, but like, I'm not against like being friends with people who are a little older or a little younger than me. But it's weird of like, I don't want to box myself in, but yet I feel like a lot of people are.
If I was to do one of those Facebook type posts, I would put a couple of pictures and say, hey, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go to this place on Thursday night at 7 to play trivia or something, like, or whatever. I'd pick a place and say, that something's going on. If anybody like wants to come out and join me, I'd love to make some new friends. Like, so like essentially
an actual call to action, like marketing.
Basically basic marketing. So then all the hard work is done. It's just that someone has to decide whether or not they're going to show up. And if nobody shows up, that's fine.
Well, that's the problem with so nobody does that, right? And everyone just posts those posts, and then everyone in the comments says, "Hi, I'd love to meet. DM me, let's chat." And I'm like, they're bombarded with, now 30 new messages from people. Do you think they're actually responding to all of those messages? Number one. And number two, it's like, do you think the person who reached out is like going to keep going back and forth versus saying, "Hey, I'm going to be here at this time"? Yeah. Having a call to action, if you're going to post it, that's a really good idea of posting, "I'm doing this," or
I know,
let's all.
That's why I said it.
Yeah. I don't want to post on those groups.
Right.
Because I hate Facebook, but if I was, that's what I would do.
But to our listeners, if you're doing something like this and you're trying to make friends, that might be the way that I would suggest it. Because I think if you can make it so that you're gonna be like, "I'm just gonna be here anyways," which is kind of how I would do dates sometimes, where I was like, I wasn't really sure about meeting up with them. Like, "Hey, I got open mic. I'm gonna be at open mic from this time to this time. If you're in the area and want to come by, I'll buy you a drink and we can say hi." But so it's like I'm already doing
barrier
something.
To entry.
And it gives and it allows them just to come by. There's a little pressure. If they don't want, it's no big deal. And it's not like I'm waiting on one specific person. I'm doing something anyways.
Yeah. And it leads for more opportunities of other people to meet instead of just one person. "Hey, I'm out here. Anyone can join."
Exactly.
I love that.
Well, I would say that, the big takeaways from this about trying to make friends is, first of all, decide why you want to make friends. Like, what is it that's important to you? Is it the actual friendship you want somebody to play video games with, or is it someone you want to be part of something bigger? And then put yourself out there both digitally and in person, and give yourself a chance to, to realize it is like dating. It's a numbers game, and sometimes you're going to meet people and, you'll get to know them really well. And sometimes you'll be people and you won't hit it off at all. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Getting out of the house and trying new things to then hopefully meet people. Those are two big things for me.
Right. Or just build an audience of like a couple 100,000 people and then just tell people where you're going to be. That's whatever.
Hey, I'll be downtown Seattle next week if you want to hang.
What we're basically saying is that if you live in the Seattle area,
and you're a listener, so this is an ad.
Email us at datingkindasuckspodcast@gmail.com and say, subject line, "I'll be Sarah's friend."
That'd be so nice though. Well, Adam will catch the headline first.
Yeah, I know. I'll be screening you because Sarah doesn't check the email, so you have to impress me first.
Well, you can also DM us that on our Instagram at Dating Kinda Sucks, or you can where else can they reach us? I'm sorry, or they can post a post on our Facebook group about it at facebook.com/groups/DKS podcast.
So and the group is actually a good place for people to maybe make friends as well, because they're, everybody in there has kind of similar interest, and they've been screened through for the most part as well. If you are enjoying the podcast and you want to support us, you can get bonus episodes where we just shoot the shit for 20 minutes, and you get to hear some inside scoops you might not otherwise hear at Patreon.
Juicy.
And for $5 a month, which is not very much, you can join us and support us, and that's patreon.com/DKS podcast. You can watch us on YouTube as well, youtube.com/datingkindasucks. And then, of course, follow us on TikTok. Sarah doesn't really post anymore, but I do at Adam Heath. Sarah's at simply Sarah G _.
And last but not least, our favorite thing for you to do is to call our DKS hotline at 407-519-0181. Like we mentioned earlier, we will be playing some voicemails next episode and helping out some listeners. So if you'd like some advice, give us a call on there.
And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave us a 5-star rating and review, and give us a 5-star rating on Spotify. It helps us a lot. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. I'm not going to say 2 weeks specifically. It might be 3 weeks, but we'll get back into a routine for the new year with new episodes. And thank you for tuning in.
Until next time.
Whether you're married or single or poly or ace, or hanging out with swingers back at your place, listen to us as we get no fuck on Tinder and Bumble and plenty of yucks, trying and having no luck, because we all know dating kinda sucks. Sarah and Adam are two of a kind. He says stupid shit and she doesn't mind. They're not doing this show to make any buck. Life as a chicken whose feathers they pluck. Why does it work? Well, here is the crux. They both know dating kinda sucks. kinda sucks.